Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. This time I thought I would start a series of showing off some of my favorite covers from some of my favorite artists. For this video I'm going to highlight Jack Kirby and Johnny Craig. Now, I'm not going to show off every Kirby cover or every Craig cover in my collection, or even most of their well-known covers. I have a good deal of their well-known covers here, but I don't have them all. I'm just going to show off a couple that were in arm's reach so I can make this video. So we'll start off with the great Jack King Kirby. It's very hard to talk about Kirby without showing off a couple of his Fantastic Four covers. He was the artist for Fantastic Four, I think up until 100, something like that. He did a lot of them. But he did a lot of work at Marvel in the 60s. So look at this one. Number 45. That is a great Kirby cover. Just the look on each of the Fantastic Four's faces as the Inhumans are behind them. And the beautiful background of the night with the stars. Really a great classic Kirby cover. Here's another. I think one of his best in the entire Fantastic Four run. Fantastic Four 49 with Galactus looming over the Fantastic Four with the Silver Surfer flying right underneath Galactus. Great classic cover. Better, I think, than the Fantastic Four 48 cover, where Galactus is introduced in a cameo and Silver Surfer. Here's another one of my favorite Kirby covers. I just love the way this cover is drawn. Avengers number 8 with Kang walking through the portal. I think it's just so cool. Again, you know, the thing is with a lot of those early Marvel covers, there's too much description on it, which I think at times does take away from the artwork that's on there. I mean, I think we could all agree that Jack Kirby was one of the best artists ever. Even despite all of that, despite all the word boxes, word balloons sometimes, and all that other stuff on some of those early covers, you can still see his artwork come out really magnificently. X-Men 10, classic Kirby cover. You know, I mean, not necessarily, maybe, let me take that back. Not necessarily a classic Kirby cover, but a classy Kirby drawing where there's action, where the character is jumping out at something, a lot of things going on. But I think that is a classic Kirby style that is portrayed in a lot of the things that he does. And I think that's shown here on X-Men 10. One of my favorite covers from the early X-Men line, the Juggernaut. Great cover. Another one of my favorite covers. The all red cover. X-Men 17. And of course, another one. We have X-Men number 1. Classic. A lot of people jumping into action to fight off the bad guy, Magneto. Here's another one. That's one of my favorite covers of the Silver Age from Marvel. Tales of Astonish 27, introducing Hank Pym, the Ant-Man. And one of my favorites of the introduction issues, Incredible Hulk. I think it's great. You know, I like the way you see Bruce Banner turning into the Hulk, the way the Hulk is just coming out of Banner. And of course, I always like dark backgrounds, like I mentioned earlier with Fantastic Four 45. The nighttime background. Well, here you have another nighttime background. It doesn't have stars, but it has a lot of other things going on. You got Thunderbolt Ross over here. You got the missile firing in the background. You got the big question mark, which I think is pretty cool. This part we could do without, I think. But this is pretty, the rest of it works. I think it works really well. One of my favorite Kirby covers that introduces a character. I like this way better than X-Men number 1. I even like it better than Amazing Fantasy 15, which is a Kirby cover. I'm not going to show that one in this video. I think I've showed that book plenty of times. But that's it for Kirby. I mean, there are a ton of others. out there for Kirby that's really, really good. A lot of classics, Fantastic Four 1 and so many others that I'm just not going to show. Just wanted to show just a handful of stuff. Now let's go to Johnny Craig. As you know, Johnny Craig, he did do some work at Marvel, not much. Not much. I believe he did some early Iron Mans. I'd like to get those just because some were drawn by Johnny Craig. I couldn't care less about having Iron Man number 1, 2, 3. I'm more interested in the artist rather than the issue. But I don't have any of Craig's Marvel or superhero stuff. I got most of the stuff that I think everyone's familiar with when it comes to Craig, his EC stuff. So again, I'll highlight some books from Johnny Craig. Of course, this one, Vault of Horror number 12, which is actually Vault of Horror number 1, you know. Again, EC with their numbering system. Classic bondage cover, classic Craig cover. Johnny Craig, I don't know, for anybody that knows, here's another one. He worked on Vault of Horror, he worked on crime suspense stories, mostly when it comes to EC. Yeah, he did some Tales from the Crypt stuff and Haunt of Fear stuff and other things. But he was the main artist for Vault of Horror throughout the entire run. He did some early work for Tales from the Crypt. I mean, he's done some work for Tales from the Crypt on some of the stories, but some early covers. And you notice that Johnny Craig's art, you can always tell like Kirby art and Johnny Craig art. Every artist has their own look, and Craig and Kirby are no exception. Great cover, voodoo cover. At least when it comes to Johnny Craig, he drew a lot of the male characters. They were basically based off of him. If you ever saw what Johnny Craig looked like when he was younger, he was very clean-cut looking. You know, the strong chin, you know, the combed hair, all that stuff. Decent-looking guy. Well, a lot of his characters look just like that. The strong chin, decent-looking characters, decent-looking people, and all that stuff. As it contrasts from Graham Ingles. Now, Graham Ingles, if you ever saw a picture, which he'll be in another video, if you ever saw Graham Ingles, he was a decent-looking guy, but you see his work. You can't see Graham Ingles in any of those characters. A lot of those characters are very grotesque-looking and so on. But it's just Graham Ingles' style, like I was just talking about. Everyone has a certain style. And with Craig, his style was he drew characters that were very strong-looking, very clean, very much like him. He didn't really get into the sloppiness or the gore that Graham Ingles did. And with Kirby, his style, like I was mentioning earlier, a lot of action, a lot of people jumping into action, jumping at the characters that they were fighting. You know, Kirby had his own way of drawing hands. They were not the best, but you could tell when there was a Kirby hand. Another great book. And of course, I think the most famous of Johnny Craig's work, the infamous decapitation cover. Well, that's it for this video. I'm going to highlight a couple more artists in this series as I go through it. So thank you all for watching, and tell me who are some of your favorite artists.